Welcome back everyone, Oz here. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.
Ask Reddit. Besides eating cereal with water, what is the most outrageous eating sin you have ever witnessed? When I visited my aunt's family as a kid, she served a purple cow, milk mixed with grape juice for breakfast. If you haven't tasted that, take my word for it. It's not a great concoction. I work at a pub/restaurant waiting tables. This couple walks in who I've never seen, but are apparently regulars. The bartender sees them, shoots me a glance, and goes to grab something from the kitchen. Before even taking their order, he fills up the crushed red pepper shaker and told me to take it over to them. The woman orders a small cup of French onion soup and proceeds to unscrew the cap of the shaker and dump the entirety of it onto her soup, an inch high off the top of her bowl. She's eating this spicy red pepper like cereal and didn't even ask for a drink refill. She must have been dead inside and desperately trying to feel something. I had a friend who went through a period where cake decorating was her hobby, and she made some amazing looking cakes that all tasted horrible because of the bizarre flavor combinations. It was always a bit funny because people would compliment the look of them and then have to try to figure out how to throw their pieces away without being rude about it. The worst one was a Christmas cake with an immaculate looking fondant Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that was an orange spice cake covered in mint icing. It was like brushing your teeth and rinsing with orange juice in cake form. Ugh. I used to be obsessed with A1. I would put it on everything possible because I loved it so much. One day I put it on Jell-O. I no longer enjoy A1. My sister would make Ritz cracker sandwiches, except the thing that went between the two Ritz cracker buns was another Ritz cracker, except chewed up and spit out. It was disgusting. Oh god. I wasn't going to tell the story, but here I am. As a kid, I would eat a whole bag of Doritos without swallowing, and then I'd spit out the pulverized chip dust and saliva mixture and roll it into a ball with my hands, and then let it harden a bit in my desk at school between first and second break. And then eat it during lunch when the outside was a bit crunchy again, but the inside was still moist to the consistency of a chocolate truffle. Jesus Christ. Why? A ketchup brownie. My cousin, this son of a bitch. I hope he's arrested. My mom puts peanut butter on cold pizza. It is the closest flavor to vomit that is not vomit. You've got to add orange juice for that authentic vomit flavor. My wife dips PB&Js into SpaghettiOs. A watermelon and ketchup sandwich. I call it a sandwich because it makes me sad. Is the watermelon the bun, or does the monstrosity desecrate bread too? Clearly the ketchup is the bun. Stay right where you are, the police are on their way. When I was a server, I had a customer dip her bread in a glass of Coke. She finished her whole bread basket and Coke, and asked for another basket and another refill of Coke, and went to town again for round 2. She didn't give a crap how she looked and ate that like it was the best thing on earth. Dude in my dining hall had a plate of sunny side up eggs, scooped under an egg with his fork, brought it up to his mouth, and only touched his lips to the yolk. Proceeded to suck all the yolk and then slurp the rest of the egg in. It was like a car crash. I couldn't look away, but I was horrified. This reminds me of an experience my friend had. She was studying Chinese and went to live in a smallish town in China for a bit. She is tall, white, blonde, blue eyes, etc. Because she stood out so much and is a very friendly, sociable person, she became somewhat of a town celebrity. As such, some restaurant owners decided to open the first Western-style food place ever in the town and name it after her. On the opening night, she was sat around a big table with lots of local people excited to try the food. I can't remember exactly what was on the plate, but I know she said there was a plain pasta, no sauce or anything, and a fried egg. But everyone had chopsticks, so as the restaurant owner said a little speech and then asked them all to start, she said every single person around the table poked a hole in the yolk of the egg with their chopsticks, then lowered their faces to the egg and just sucked up the yolk. The thought of that has always made me laugh. Can't forget the ritualistic yolk sucking. My baby sister used to eat pancakes and ranch. My mom just accepted it because she was such a picky eater, and this was something she just thoroughly enjoyed. We're pretty sure it's because my mom craved both when she was pregnant with her. Dipping Oreos in orange juice. Oh, here's an idea. How about you not? Fried eggs with chocolate melted on the yolk. How the Cadbury egg was born. Fuck this thread. My sister used to put ketchup on strawberries. Peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich. Good God, what the hell is wrong with these people? I mean, you could just lie down in a ditch and die instead. Someone told me it was because the mayonnaise prevented the peanut butter from sticking on the roof of your mouth. But at what cost? Went to college with this girl who would get a chef salad, slice up bananas and put it on said chef salad, then use ketchup as dressing. I shit you not, this person ate that on a regular basis. One time, a long time ago, I ate Lucky Charms with Guinness as a St. Patrick's Day bastardization. I would not recommend. I knew a guy who would bite into Hot Pockets in the middle, holding each end. What the fuck, man? You ever realize when you microwave something the edges are super hot and the middle should be just right? He's letting the atomic parts cool off while he eats the best bits right away. Cut it in half, why don't you? Bringing utensils into a Hot Pocket consumption is a bigger food sin than the one you're trying to correct. Might as well pour some Milwaukee's Best into a champagne flute while you're at it. A couple of years ago, my best friend and I were still in college. She stayed over at mine a few times. It was then that I learned that she liked dipping cheese into hot chocolate. Like, full on dunking it in, waiting for it to partially melt, swirling it around, then eating it. I love her to bits, she's like my kid sister, but I still haven't entirely recovered. Edit. From all these comments, I've learned that this is indeed a thing in some parts of the world. Cheers, guys, I'm not sleeping tonight. My wife likes crunchy peanut butter and bologna sandwiches with cheese. Her mom also adds mayo. I just can't bring myself to try it. Literally start retching at the thought of the flavor. Kid I used to know in school used to rip open his milk carton and dip his burrito into the chocolate milk. Sometimes he even go as far as to rip open the burrito and pour his milk onto the beef and eggs too. I'm quoting here. Creamify the meat. I don't know, man, but the word creamify is just, ugh. Mixing ketchup with soda. Granted, we were trying to gross each other out, but still. It was an act of culinary violence unlike anything else I've ever seen. My roommate's mom eats peanut butter and onion sandwiches. Mom's boyfriend. Crushed Cheez-It crackers into his coffee. That day he ate waffles covered in spinach and fish sticks drizzled with syrup. All the while loudly smacking his lips saying, "Oh, so good." Mom says don't let it bother me. It bothers me. How the fuck is that not supposed to bother you? He's literally Satan. My friend ran out of milk, so she thought she could possibly use coffee creamer instead. Ugh, God. I watched a guy pour Sprite into a nice $50 bottle of wine because he didn't like the flavor. My Asian relatives eat shrimp with all the legs and stuff on. Friend's mom used to eat soy sauce with ice cream. That's nasty. The wife dips Oreos in water like a psychopath. I used to eat blueberries with ketchup on them because I like the texture. My whole sibling group eats tomatoes and peeled oranges, clementines, like a normal person would eat an apple. But the worst I've seen is a guy in my class take a cheese and sauce filled roll type thing, put a hole in the bottom and suck it dry. In a restaurant with other people. Another time, my little sister, she was a tiny kid at the time, got a gulab jamun at an Indian buffet. They're like milky donut holes soaked in watery, sugary syrup. She leaned over the table and vacuumed them up off the plate so she didn't have to get her hands sticky. My friend was eating salad with his hands at a restaurant. He's not my friend anymore. Drinking ranch straight out of the bottle. Oh my God. I worked in a restaurant that served authentic imported Kobe beef. I had someone order a 16-ounce Kobe filet mignon. Well done. The chef nearly cried and definitely threw things. If I recall correctly, he ended up having to put that $200 steak into the microwave to get it to cook all the way through to well without burning the outside of charcoal. The guest was pleased, and his date looked horrified. That's an egregious eating sin right there. As a kid, we heard about cheeseburger pizza. Pizza, but with ketchup and mustard instead of tomato sauce. American cheese instead of mozzarella, and hamburger meat on top. So, we tried it. You wouldn't think it would be that different, but ingredients are the same as an actual hamburger. Except pizza dough is actually very different from bread of a hamburger bun. It's kind of sweeter and fluffier and really soaks in the ketchup and mustard to an absolutely disgusting degree. It's awful. When I was in grade school, I went over to this kid's house to play, then ended up staying for dinner. We had spaghetti, some vegetable, maybe salad and something else. His entire family would mix everything together before eating it. His dad seemed to be the ringleader, mastermind behind this scheme. I remember someone cheerfully saying, "Well, it all goes to the same place," and then the rest of them agreeing with this truism as if it's some sort of folk wisdom. That's some serial killer shit right there. In college, I would sometimes drain the water out of my shrimp cup of noodles and mix in a big spoonful of peanut butter. I honestly don't know what to tell you other than I did it once out of boredom. It wasn't terrible, and it made my life interesting. Alright, my turn to share my food sin story here. So, when I was in high school, we had this kid who would peel the cheese off of his pizza, dip it in his milk, and leave it there to soak. Then he would, with a fork, scrape all the pizza sauce off of his pizza and then smear it onto the dessert like a brownie or something like that, and then eat the brownie. And then after the milk finally got done soaking the cheese, he would peel apart the pizza crust, dip it in his milk, and swirl up some cheese and then eat it. It's honestly one of the most revolting things I've ever seen. And when asked why he did it, he said, "I don't have taste buds really, so it all goes to the same place." Turns out he learned to do this because in his middle school, it was one of those middle schools where like they had to have metal detectors. There was like a drug problem and it was just a really bad place just in general. So he started doing things to scare people off from him. Like doing that with his food and then wearing a really long dark trench coat and aviators. And that seemed to work. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking on my AskReddit playlist if you want to see more, or checking out some of my other content like my r/Tinder video, which is kind of like this, but more of a splash meme kind of whatever thing. So, yeah. See you guys next time.